Dr. Emily Darling. I'm the Director of Coral Reef Conservation at the Wildlife Conservation Society, and I'm one of the co-founders of MERMAID.
Tell us a little bit about MERMAID.
About 20 years ago, I first arrived in Kenya on the coast of East Africa in Mombasa, where WCS scientists had been studying coral reefs for the last 20 years. As a new graduate student, I was in charge of analyzing the spreadsheets that they've been collecting. The 1998 coral bleaching event had happened, and it had killed most of the corals on the Kenyan coast. So the corals in the spreadsheet, the species of Acroporas, Montiporas, Echinoporas, out on the reef, they weren't there anymore. And I thought, as a young coral reef scientist, that this was just going to be the story of my science career, that you're going to be documenting this decline and this loss. A few years later, I joined Tim and Nuera in northern Mozambique. And there, when I first dove off the back of the boat onto these reefs, there were the corals in the spreadsheet, and they had survived the bleaching event. Seeing those corals gave me a lot of hope that corals could survive climate change in certain places, that there were climate resilient reefs, that we could work with local communities and governments and other scientists around the world to identify and protect and connect. And that's really the goal of MERMAID. MERMAID is now used by over 2,000 scientists in 39 countries. They've submitted over 50,000 transects from 5,000 sites around the world. But we still know that not enough coral reefs around the world are monitored, and not enough data are available to scientists, to governments trying to make these critical decisions about where they protect the most important coral reefs in the world.
How did you guys go about building MERMAID?
So when we started building MERMAID, we had a very simple mission. It was data in and clean data out. And we knew that if we could solve this problem of Excel for coral reef scientists, we didn't just want to solve it for WCS, we wanted to solve it for everyone. And so that's what we built on open source technology, why we made this a free tool. And a key part of that being free is it being built on open source technologies. And so when we looked at, what is the best open source technology for the database we wanted to create, it was Postgres. It also allowed us to build and scale. MERMAID has really transformed how coral reef scientists use their data. And so having a flexible and functioning database like Postgres at the heart of it lets us do that in such efficient ways.
When you were building MERMAID, what sort of technology requirements did you consider?
The way that coral reef scientists have been monitoring coral reef health for decades is this underwater visual census methods. So it's really low tech, but it's able to be replicated around the world. And in part, that's how also we democratize data with MERMAID, is we're meeting coral reef scientists where they are, using the methods that they're used to using, that are practical, that are cheap, that work for them in the field, and then giving them this opportunity to use their data really quickly in modern web platforms. So we think we've increased the efficiency of coral reef scientists by at least 3 to 5 times using these web apps, using MERMAID, instead of using spreadsheets.
Tell us how we can get involved. How can people support what data MERMAID is doing?
Everything at MERMAID is at datamermaid.org. We're fully open source development. We're always looking for support for development. This could be through things like credits, through hosting, through serving, through developers, through cash to continue to support our initiatives. And we're really working on building out our full teams. It's really about getting their data back to them. So there's not, a central database that they're sharing their data to. They're choosing who has access to the data they're collecting, who's in their project, what are the data sharing settings, but this opportunity to be part of global collaborations, to be part of global science. But really, MERMAID comes back down to its simplest core, which is data in and clean data out. And that's where Postgres and databases, can really accelerate that. They can make it available for any scientist to ask questions of, but really, keep these critical, flexible, scalable, database products at the fingertips of any coral reef scientist in the world.